Disabilities Issues and Updates on BCTV is supported by the Berks County Center for Independent Living, Abilities in Motion.
Hello and welcome to Disabilities Issues and Updates. My name is Teresa Faulkner and I am the Community Outreach Coordinator at AIM. We are located at 210 North 5th Street, Reading, PA. The telephone number is 610-376-0010. For our viewers, if you'd like to call in and ask questions, you can reach us at 610-378-0426. Today we have guest our own Mayor Wally Scott and his entourage, who he will introduce, along with Angel Torres, who is the president at a group organization at AIM called CAG, which is our Consumer Action Group. Welcome, Mayor Scott. So nice to have you.
Thank you.
And your entourage.
Thank you.
Angel, it's so good to have you here with us as you represent what the people say or the questions that they asked, and we want to get started.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Mayor Scott, we want to first of all say congratulations to the fact that we ranked #1 in the completed street policy here in Reading, Pennsylvania. Can you give us a brief summary about that award that we received?
Well, I brought with me today a person who's very involved in it and was probably the main reason why we received the Complete Street Award and that we're ranked #1. If I could, this is Craig Pfeiffer here. Craig is the zoning director for the city of Reading. Craig?
Great, thank you, Mayor. And thank you for having me here today to talk about our Complete Streets program. Let me just be clear that not only were we the best program in all programs in 2015, we scored an unprecedented 100%. That's out of over 900 policies submitted nationwide and over 12 years of doing the Complete Streets program. So Reading should be very excited and celebrate the fact that we now have people from across the country calling us, asking us, hey, what about that policy that you guys prepared? How come it's so good? How can we get a part of that and make our policy as good as your policy? So thank you, and I'm excited to tell you a little bit more about the Complete Streets program. For those who don't know, think about any street that you drive down, from building facade to building facade. That's called the public right-of-way. And what we aim to do with this policy is look at that and say, this is not about just driving in and driving out. How fast can you get here? How fast can you get there? This is, hey, what about somebody who's taking public transportation? What about somebody who's just trying to cross the street? What about a bicyclist? How can we make that street the best street for all users at all times of the day? And that really is what a Complete Streets policy is. Now, what sets our policy apart from other policies? We took into consideration a myriad of different studies, including how can we improve those areas that are more dangerous or detrimental? Where are we finding problems with accidents, with pedestrian safety crossing? How can we focus on making those a better space? In addition to that, we do monthly reviews. Every time a new project comes up about the city, whether it's a new building, whether it's a street repair, we all get together as a team and we talk about, okay, we're going to replace this crossing. We're going to pave the street. How can we make this better for all users? So on a monthly basis, this administration is looking at its transportation infrastructure and how it can be better for everybody. Ultimately, this has benefits not just for the end users, but of course, it's economic development. It really hits upon what was one of the mayor's cornerstones of his campaign, which is how can I strengthen neighborhoods? Well, we can strengthen neighborhoods by making sure that people can get to and from them safely and securely.
Thank you so much for that summary. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
So appreciate it. Mayor, we actually have seen this statement all around. It says, are you ready for positive change? A new government that cares. With that in mind, what do you feel are the two most vital issues that need to be handled first?
Well, if we're not talking about crime, which is obviously the most, is probably the #1 issue. The other would be how are we changing government? And what's the difference between this government and the government that's been here before? the government that I hope is, this is a government of the people now, not the government of a bureaucracy. And it's a government where we want to try and help everyone that comes in. People, not everybody should be cited for the first time. Everybody should be given a chance. People should have an opportunity to at least have someone listen to them when they come into City Hall, someone that's willing to go out there and take a look at what the problem might be. But the main thing is communication between the city employees and the people of the city of Reading themselves. And to me, that's probably the most vital issue at this particular point. If we're going to change government, we have to make it more responsive, more receptive to the needs of the people. And second, I would say to you that changing the mindset of the way people think of City Hall, changing the mindset of the fact that nobody wants to come into City Hall and they're afraid to come in and do anything because they've always felt like the government isn't there to help them. But we're looking and asking people to realize, just as human as you are, that's how human the people are that work in City Hall. And getting the people in City Hall to be maybe a little bit more responsive and caring about what's happening with the people that are coming in. Number one is most people are afraid to come into to city government and to come into the hall and talk to somebody. The second thing is, I also want the people that are coming in to be very responsive and caring about the people that are there trying to help you. If we all work together, positive change can come about.
Very good. I do want to ask the question. I thought about it. You said something about persons coming into City Hall. How is accessibility for persons who have disabilities in and out of City Hall?
We have two entrances that basically, well, the one entrance I don't think is really that accessible, the one that's at the back of City Hall, where you can come in because you have to pull the doors out.
Okay.
In order to come in if you're in a wheelchair. Then when you get in there, you got to pull another door open. And there's not really a lot of room there for you in that door opening.
Okay.
So we have to figure out a way that we can change that. I'm not sure how without just having swinging doors, but swinging doors aren't good either, especially if you don't get through quick enough. And the doors that we have are very heavy.
Okay.
Okay. But there is a ramp in the back of City Hall that you can come in on the Cedar Street entranceway in the rear that is accessible for those people that have abilities of motion and want to get moving. Okay. And then the elevators are right there, and then that'll take you up to any floor in City Hall that you want to go to. The other one is on North 8th Street.
Okay.
That is completely updated to be handicap. I don't like the word handicap, but to be accessible, okay, to those people who may have disabilities that need the accessibility. And then when you come in there, there's an elevator that's right there too. That'll take you up to any floor that you want to go to.
That's very important to our viewers. Angel has some questions for you, from our consumers.
Mayor, who can a person with disabilities contact when there are issues with homeowners or landlords who have pavements in disrepair? Reasons being, persons using power wheelchairs and manual chairs and walkers are having difficulties maneuvering safely around our city.
If I could, Ted Arntz is here. Ted is the manager of the codes department, and I feel that you can probably adjust that better than me and at least show the process.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. First, Angel, I would ask that anybody that has a concern, they could call the Citizen Service Center. The number is 1-877-727-3234. What that does is allow our process to where an inspector will be sent to the area of concern. The inspector will issue the appropriate notices. In this case, most of the time it would be for sidewalks and driveways, which is 302.3 of the City of Reading Property Maintenance Code. The inspector will give them an amount of time to correct, and we'll go out and re-inspect and make sure that it's brought up to code.
Could I ask a question real quick that you may not know? Like when people want to call in to get things done, is that something that they can do privately without someone knowing that they've called?
Right. It could all be anonymous. They don't have to give a name.
Thank you.
I have another question. Are there grandfathered clauses that allow businesses of all sorts to not have proper ramps or automatic doors? Example, manual or electric chairs are not able to go over a step into the business for safe accessibility.
Ted?
I do know that if any remodel is done to a property, it has to be brought up to the current standards. So at that point, they would be required to meet the standards set forth at this current code edition. If there is no remodel that takes place, they would not have to change it until a remodel was to be done, unless there was a safety issue brought up and agreed upon with the owner of the property.
Could I add to that if I could? Let's say that there's no remodeling that takes place, but let's say that the business or the company that's there moves out. When a new company comes in or a new business, would they be required to meet the American Disabilities Act?
If a remodel is taking place with the new conversion, they would be. If they are not changing anything and the item is not in disrepair, it would not have to be changed.
Okay, thank you.
If I could add to that, Mayor, putting on my zoning administrator hat, if you have a change of use, you do have requirements to upgrade that facility. And let's just step back and look at this globally. This is the right thing to do because all of us will always be in, at some point in our lives, a position of being disabled. Whether it's because we broke a leg or whether it's because we're just getting older and have difficulty climbing steps or opening doors. So it's in the business's best interest to make themselves accessible for all persons because you ultimately want to be serving all persons. The city does do a series of services to help folks improve their properties to become accessible. So for example, if you were to install a ramp or a lift or just changing out the door hardware, there's no zoning permit requirement for that. And if there is access into the public right-of-way, which typically you can't build there, we actually allow for you to install something that is accessible in the public right-of-way by right. You don't have to go through any additional approvals other than getting the city engineer's blessing. And that's just simply having them sign off on that document.
Very good. I like that.
I have a question, and who would they actually contact to start that particular process that you're talking about?
So you can contact anybody on the Citizen Service Center line that Ted had mentioned earlier.
Okay.
If you want to take the next step and go directly to a person, you can contact Ted, you can contact myself, you can contact Ralph Johnson in the city engineer's office, or you can contact the mayor's office. The mayor's staff has been brought up to speed on how to direct different calls, so they are also ready and willing to serve.
And what is the response time to that? When someone contacts you, is it a process that they actually need to go through, or what is the time frame?
Certainly, the time frame is within 24 hours. So
Okay.
we aim to serve our constituents within 24 hours of contact.
Okay, all right, thank you. Thank you so much.
I have another question. With the weather changing and the desire to revitalize our downtown with concerts, farmer markets, and other events, where do persons with disabilities go when in need of a restroom? For some, porta potties are not an option.
If I could address that partially, and then I'll give it to Ted. We had discussed that. I'm thinking there was an idea that came up between us. There really is no public place down there, except in public buildings, if somebody wants to go in. It might be very nice of companies that are downtown, especially for abilities in motion, those that need help, to put signs in their windows that they have handicap, and I guess that's what they call them, handicap bathrooms, or they meet the American Disabilities Act. That would give people, I mean, who would not want to help? And I think it might be nice if they put it out that we have handicap accessible bathrooms open here to the public if they want to use them. And so that might be one way, but right now I don't believe there is anything, is there, Ted?
No, not currently. We would ask that they are always welcome in any government building. They can come to City Hall. There are restrooms at the bus terminal on 8th and Franklin, the city library. How accessible they are, I'm not sure. But any restaurant that is open with ADA capability should be able to allow anyone into the property to use the restroom. They cannot deny you the use of a restroom.
Okay, even if you're actually not a patron at that particular restaurant, because of the fact that there is no bathrooms downtown, how would that work?
If they have a health permit, they cannot deny access to a restroom.
Okay.
The establishment would say, some establishments do so, which case you could contact us through the Citizen Service Center.
Okay.
And our health inspector will go down and rectify the situation.
Okay. And Mayor, you actually made the suggestion of some of the businesses actually posting signs. Do you think this would happen this year for these events, or is it something we're looking for in the future?
We could ask, we might be able to make up a brochure that we could send out, asking businesses if you have, and make up a sign. If you have bathrooms that are ADA approved, would you kindly make them available for anybody that does have a disability and needs to use a bathroom?
Okay.
I do see signs up though,
Yeah.
in Reading where it says, bathrooms are only for patrons.
Correct.
Okay, and I didn't realize that the law is that if it's a health license, you have to provide them.
Right. Any place of business cannot restrict you from using the restroom if you ask.
Okay, well, it would be nice to let them know that we, to put signs up and you're a future customer, you never know. And it gives people the opportunity. Plus it shows that you're human.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Wonderful. I have a question. Is there a designated accessible bathroom downtown during regular business hours? Now, we talked about different events, but on a regular basis, we have persons with disabilities who frequent the stores downtown. I know, Ted, you talked about the health license or whatever that was. I'm sorry, please
Correct.
forgive me. But is it the same procedure that you talked about earlier, that if they have that license, they should be able to have accessibility to the bathroom?
Correct.
Okay.
If they have an ADA accessible bathroom, it's open to anybody coming into the establishment. They cannot refuse someone from using the restroom.
Okay. And again, if there are issues, what is the number they can call?
It's 877-727-3234. That's the Citizen Service Center of the City of Reading.
All right, thank you
You
so
know, it
much.
might be nice too to get a coordinator in City Hall that basically, I know there was a lady that came out that basically was in a wheelchair and went around to where the district judges were and then put in complaints, you couldn't get in here. And they changed everything.
Okay.
It took one at a time. But maybe it would be nice, not only us as inspectors, but to take somebody along where maybe we could contact Abilities in Motion and have someone meet somebody in codes there to show, why it's important that you can get into a property.
Absolutely.
Okay? That might be a good idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Would that be something you would head, or do I contact your secretary?
I think we should look at it. I think we should look at it through codes and because she's told me something that I didn't realize, that if you have one, that they have to make it available to you. So. But one thing I did want to, the other thing, we were talking about the bathroom downtown, that there used to be bathrooms.
Yes,
downtown.
absolutely.
And they're still there. They're still there.
Yes.
And what happened was they put a plate over the top. I remember as a
They were-
kid when they sealed them off.
There were a bunch of steps going down, if I remember right, too. Yeah.
Doesn't mean that we can't put a ramp.
I-
That's an idea too. Actually, people would probably enjoy that, to see it come up. We could put like a sign on there saying Subway or something like that. They could get in. It's just thought.
Hey.
I do know in the community that comes up a lot. Persons that remember that when the bathrooms were downtown and you went down the steps, it is a great piece of conversation that people talk about all around Berks County.
And I remember there was a charge. You had to put a quarter in or some type of coin in the slot, no, for the stall?
No, I said when you're a kid, you just go under. If anything, the kids are out there trying to figure out how to get the coins out.
Hey,
The world hasn't changed. It was the same years ago. Just got a little rougher now. That's all.
Really good, thank you. I have another question. How can individuals with disabilities assist your office and our city to bring about, because I hear this, I've seen it on when you were running for office, positive and necessary changes. How can we help you, the disabled community?
I think that the more you tell us that you need accessibility for, and more places that you look at that need them, we might be able to reach out and help. And I'm not exactly sure that we probably could give money through community development or something like that, because basically you're under a federal act anyway, and a lot of people aren't in a position to change it. And it might be something we might want to look at. I don't know, but I don't know how the operation works. The second thing is that the more information that we get that shows us what you aren't able to do, gives us an opportunity that if there aren't laws or there's something that we can't get through the federal government, there may be a way that we could pass an ordinance to correct problems that you have. We are trying now to put in all the ramps. I had met with you folks, and we're not going to get as many in as we'd like to this year in the, at the corners, so that you could, not ramps, what do they call? Is it a ramp too? Okay.
Curb ramps now they're called. Curb
And-
cuts used to be called.
Well, I'm starting to see they're opening up the pavements now, and they're
Yes,
starting
they
to
are.
come about and come in. And we're not going to be able to get to everything because of the fact that the state's coming through doing the streets. So what we're hoping to do is, once they come through and they open the streets up, that's the time to do it. Because when they come back through, then they can seal it up with the macadam, and everything hopefully works. And there is, I think, almost $1 million set aside for a project. And I know you have been fighting for years to get that project started. And we told you in this administration, not only will it get started, it'll get finished, okay?
Absolutely.
And there's a lot to do.
Well, it's a process.
Very
Absolutely.
good, very good. We want to let our viewers know, as I said, Mr. Torres is actually the president of our Consumer Action Group, and he has something that he wants to read or introduce to the community. Angel.
Okay. Well, if you have a disability and want to improve the current environment in our community concerning your independence and your quality of life, or if you want to improve the quality of life of other individuals with a disability, we have a monthly meeting on the second Thursday of the month at 1 p.m. at 210 North 5th Street in Reading, Pennsylvania, in the offices of Abilities in Motion. You are welcome to bring your disability issues or ideas to these meetings for consideration. We are currently working with the City of Reading concerning the curb ramps renovations being completed throughout the city and accessibility issues concerning polling places throughout the city. We are also in the process of partner with other organizations to improve sidewalk issues for safe routes to school throughout the county. The mayor would like to make positive changes to our city, and so do we at Abilities in Motion. We are interested in helping to improve conditions in the city and conditions in the city of Reading and throughout the county of Berks.
Very good. Thank you, Angel. Mayor Scott, is there anything additional that you would like to address on our program, disabilities, issues, and concerns that you can think of from your office?
Well, when I was a district judge, I came to Abilities in Motion too and talked with them there. I'm just amazed at how much we do have to offer and that we still don't have enough, and that there's still, like, we could fix and put the ADA toilets in and stuff like that, but if you can't get to the toilet or even get on the pavement, that's a problem. So I don't know why it's taken so long for so many years, but we're going to do our best to make sure that those ramp openings or the cuts are in the pavement for people to come through. And just as important is the pavements themselves. And sometimes when you put the cut in the pavement and then people come up through, there's a lot of people who have property and pavements that they don't have the money to replace them. And there's a lot of people that, as you know, are poor here in the city of Reading. And maybe we should be looking at some of that grant money where, like they did on South 6th Street, did all the pavements down there. When they do Penn Street, they do all the pavements down there. Maybe there should be something for our neighborhoods too, with properties that we don't have to do all the pavements, but maybe we could help in getting some money and getting individual properties more up to codes and make them accessible to you.
Thank you.
So that's important.
Thank you so much. We so appreciate you, Mayor Wally Scott, coming in and out of your busy schedule to take time to deal with some of our issues with disabilities, and we appreciate that. Angel, I appreciate you being here with your questions and concerns on behalf of the consumers. Gentlemen, I appreciate you being here and being able to summarize some of the questions that we've had. Again, if you have any questions or concerns, you can reach us at Abilities in Motion at 210 North 5th Street, Reading, PA. Our number again is 610-376-0010. Again, thank you for coming, and we enjoy having you. Have a wonderful
Thank you.
afternoon, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Disabilities Issues and Updates on BCTV is supported by the Berks County Center for Independent Living, Abilities in Motion.